What's up, fam? It's your boy Legend, and I'm back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. What if Naruto was the strongest Hashira part 4? If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. Like goal for this video is going to be 5 likes, so hit that like button. But without further ado, let's just get into this intro so we can start this what if.
The Tale of Naruto Uzumaki. Yes, that has a nice ring to it.
Naruto sat cross-legged on the mossy ground, his body utterly still. Around him, thick mist of the mountain air swirled in gentle eddies. His hands rested on his knees, fingers forming a loose seal of concentration. Despite the sounds of nature, the chirping of distant birds, the gentle rustle of the leaves, inside Naruto's mind was a maelstrom. The image of Yuri's final moments replayed again and again behind his closed eyelids. Her blood-splattered smile, her outstretched hand reaching for him, even as life left her eyes. The laughter of the lower rank 2 demon as it tore her apart before his very eyes. Naruto grit his teeth, barely suppressing the shudder of rage and guilt that threatened to tear him apart. I was too slow, too weak. I couldn't protect her. A soft, serene voice reached him. Kagaya Ubuyashiki, the leader of the Demon Slayer Corps. Despite the roaring guilt inside, Naruto's body instinctively heard him. Every word filtered his mind, even as he tried desperately to maintain his focus. Uzumaki Naruto, your strength is extraordinary, your spirit unbreakable. I would ask you to lend your power to our cause, to become one of us, to help prevent the tragedy you endured from happening to others. Naruto's breathing remained even, but inside his chest, his heart thundered. Help others so no one else has to lose what I lost. The emotions in him swirled darker and darker. Anger, sadness, loss, but didn't let them consume him. Instead, he let them fuel him. Deep inside, something ancient and primal stirred. Nature itself seemed to bend around him, gathering. The grass around him, seated form, seemed to lean in. The very air thickened, frogs croaked in the distance, an odd harmony filling the forest. Without realizing it, Naruto crossed into sage mode. In his mind, he stood before a phantom vision of Yuri, her spirit smiling softly at him. Tears welled up in Naruto's eyes as he dropped to one knee. I couldn't protect you, he whispered brokenly. I'm sorry. The vision of Yuri only smiled wider, stepping forward to press a ghostly hand onto his forehead. Then protect everyone else, dummy, she said warmly, her voice filled with that same fierce kindness she had always shown. Naruto swallowed hard, clenching his fist. I swear, he vowed, his voice trembling but strong. Every demon I meet, I'll destroy them. I'll wipe them out so nobody else will ever have to feel this pain. As he made his oath, the nature energy around him burst outward in a silent explosion, causing small cracks to ripple along the hidden seal that lay deep inside his body, the very seal that had restricted his power for months. In the real world, Naruto's eyes snapped open. Kagaya and the two Hashira he had brought with him, they gasped softly. Gone were Naruto's usual cerulean eyes. In their place were the unmistakable, slitted-toed pupils of a sage. His presence was overwhelming, raw, untamed, yet heartbreakingly calm. Kagaya smiled gently. "I see your answer already, Naruto-kun." Naruto stood slowly, his movements fluid and precise. "I'll join you," he said, voice low and resolute. "I'll become a demon slayer." Kagaya bowed his head in gratitude. "Thank you, Naruto. I believe your arrival here is destiny." At the Butterfly Mansion. The journey to the Butterfly Mansion was swift, carried by Naruto's incredible stamina and the Hashira's speed. Along the way, whispers of Naruto's presence spread throughout the core like wildfire. When they arrived, all of the Hashira were already gathered in the courtyard, curiosity written on their faces. Kagaya, ever serene despite his frailty, addressed them. "This young man," he began, gesturing to Naruto, "has done what most seasoned demon slayers have never achieved. He slew a lower moon demon with his bare hands." Murmurs exploded among the Hashira. "Bare hands? No sword? He killed a lower moon without a blade?" Even the stoic Giyu Tomioka furrowed his eyebrows in rare surprise. Sanemi scoffed, folding his arms, but even he couldn't fully hide his intrigue. Kagaya continued, "Therefore, by the authority of the core, Uzumaki Naruto shall join the Hashira directly." Naruto bowed respectfully, though inside he felt little satisfaction. Titles don't matter, only his promise to Yuri. Later that day, Kagaya brought Naruto to a small armory where rows of basic Nichiren swords were kept, a temporary weapon, until his own custom one could be forged. Naruto examined them with quiet focus, eventually choosing a plain katana. Though the blade was uninspired, his grip was steady, as though the sword itself bent to his will rather than the other way around. He also met with the eccentric swordsmith Haganeska, who nearly suffocated Naruto with excitement. "You'll choose your horse soon," Haganeska bowed, waving a scroll filled with samples. "Don't you dare disgrace my forging with hesitation, or must resonate with the soul." Naruto smiled slightly and chose a vibrant, resonant ore, one that seemed to hum beneath his fingers with quiet power. It reminded him of the gentle energy Yuri had carried within her. Scene change. Training under Shinobu and Moichiro. Though Naruto was a Hashira in rank, tradition demanded he undergo some basic training with the others, a formality more than anything else. He was assigned to Shinobu Kocho and Moichiro Tokido for focus, speed, technique, and emotional regulation. The two Hashira approached it professionally, Shinobu with her false smile, and Moichiro with his detached, dreamy manner. The training grounds became a spectacle. Naruto's speed far outstripped Shinobu's, his body blurring with sage-enhanced agility. His strikes were cleaner and more devastating than Moichiro's meticulously trained blade work, and when Shinobu attempted to fluster him with needling, taunting words, Naruto simply smiled faintly, unmoved, his spirit anchored by the unbreakable calm of a true sage. By the third day, both instructors exchanged bewildered glances during a break. "There's nothing to teach him," Shinobu said lightly, tapping a finger to her chin. Luichiro nodded dreamily. "It's like he already mastered what we spent our lives learning." They both looked to where Naruto sat cross-legged again, meditating with his sword resting across his lap. The sage energy around him, so pure and potent that butterflies flocked to him, resting peacefully on his shoulders. Time skip. 7 days later, Naruto stood before Hageneshika, who presented the finished sword with exaggerated ceremony. The blacksmith ranted for several minutes about respect for craftsmanship, proper care, and responsibility before finally handing the weapon over. Naruto unsheathed it slowly. As soon as his fingers wrapped around the hilt and he pulled the blade free, the steel shimmered, then shifted color. It wasn't a single hue, it split. The sword's blade gleamed in two tones, a very light green on one side and a pure white on the other. Colors that embody both nature, life and death, peace and violence. The entire courtyard felt silent. Naruto ran a thumb carefully along the blade's flat, feeling the warmth of its soul. "Yuri," he whispered. The sword vibrated faintly in acknowledgement, and he knew then what he would name it. "This sword," he said aloud, voice firm, "will be called Yuri." The gathered swordsmiths and Hashira murmured approvingly. Some smiled, some bowed their heads in respect, sensing the powerful emotion tied to the name. Naruto sheathed Yuri carefully, standing tall. In that moment, the sword forged the oath made. And his heart steeled. Naruto Uzumaki truly became something new, something terrifying to demons, and something irreplaceable to humans. A Hashira whose rage was pure, whose focus was unshakable, and whose promise was eternal. The Sage of Slaughter. In the cold dark beyond mortal comprehension, where light dared not linger, a presence shifted like oil across still water. The Infinity Castle shimmered into form, twisting dimensions folding into place with eerie grace. A low hum reverberated through the space, an echo of infinite malice. Muzan Kibutsuchi emerged from a shifting pillar of flesh-like walls, his crimson eyes bored, his pale hand clasped behind his back, as if he were merely stepping in for a mundane conversation. Around him detached themselves from the walls and took form. Upper moons, lower moons, all bowed, save one. Lower rank 2 was not present. Muzan's eyes flickered momentarily to the empty space in the line. He didn't ask where the demon was. He didn't call his name. He already knew. There was no mistake. Lower Moon 2 had been destroyed. Silence stretched unnaturally long, an oppressive pressure coiling around the assembled demons like a tightening noose. None dared to speak. Muzan's gaze remained calm, but the corners of his eyes sharpened. When he finally did speak, his voice was soft, dangerously so. Lower rank 2 is dead. No one moved. The silence cracked like glass under tension. I did not summon you to report this, he continued, still facing the void where lower rank 2 should have stood. I already knew. I could feel the severing. What I want is an answer. His gaze pivoted with serpentine swiftness to lower rank 4, a skeletal demon trembling as if death clung to his shoulders. Who killed him? My lord, Lower 4 began. Voice strangled. Whimper. We don't. Muzan was suddenly in front of him. A hand pierced Lower 4's chest before the words could fully leave the demon's mouth. A scream was wet, gurgling. Instantly choked off. I don't tolerate ignorance, Muzan hissed. He dropped the body, letting it slide into the floor like blood into soil. The remaining demons stood paralyzed. No one? Muzan murmured, returning to the center. No one should be able to kill a lower moon without notice. No demon slayer with such power exists outside of a Hashira, and even then, none could defeat one of my creations barehanded. So, he turned to the upper moons. Now, Akaza, Doma, Kokushibo. Find them, he commanded. Find whoever did this. I want their face, their name, their scent, their dreams. I want them undone. Do not rest. Then the Infinity Castle collapsed inward, and the demons were left scattered into the night. Back at the Butterfly Mansion, in the hush of the pre-dawn, Naruto sat motionless in the courtyard garden. Dew clung to the leaves like glass pearls. Frogs murmured in the distant ponds. The world held its breath, and so did he. Naruto was no longer meditating in the traditional sense. Nah. What he was doing now was something new. Something sacred. His chest rose slowly, as if obeying the rhythm of mountains and trees. His lungs expanded like unfolding paper lanterns. One breath, just one. Within that breath, his mind shifted. He became hyper aware of the pulse in his fingers, the position of the sparrows nearby, the warmth of the sun hidden behind the clouds. He could feel the sword, Yuri, across his lap, its soul humming softly, echoing his resolve. He stood, and within the same breath he moved. His foot glided across the gravel path with barely a sound. His blade flashed once, twice, 3 times, then returned to its sheath in a seamless arc. 3 invisible strikes carved through the air in silence with poetic violence. Then he exhaled. The garden shivered, petals fell. Breathing techniques were the core of a demon slayer's power. But what Naruto was developing was different. Breath of nature, he murmured. Form 1, silent bloom. He closed his eyes. This style was born not from flame or wind, but from stillness. From the kind of silence only sage mode could achieve, where the boundaries between self and world faded. It wasn't about aggression, it was about harmony, patience, and precision. His second breath began, slower this time. So slow, a casual observer might think he stopped breathing entirely. He drew his sword again. This time he twisted midair, one foot anchoring to a tree. And he pushed off, moving like a falling leaf caught in a breeze. He darted past a standing post meant for sword drills and vanished behind it. A delay passed before the post split into quarters with a soft cracking sound. Form 2, drifting branch. He landed softly, steadying his breathing again. Even while not actively fighting, Naruto had trained himself to keep this ultra slow, sage, synchronized breathing going at all times. Compared to total concentration constant, which took a toll on the body, his method gave back. It conserved energy, prolonged stamina, reduced tension in the muscles. Kanao watched from a window, stunned. The butterfly perched on her finger hadn't flown away. Not even when Naruto sliced the air like thunder. He was still learning the limitations, still testing the flow of chakra through the seal that suppressed his abilities. But Sage Mode and this breath, this gave him a different kind of power. One that didn't come from brute force. It came from patience. Naruto stood again. Let the world settle. A gentle breeze passed through. Then he breathed once more. Form 3. Verdant embrace. This time he disappeared into a blur. Not from speed, but timing. He struck a series of wooden dummies in a flowing arc. The blade leaving shallow cuts at vital joints, each blow precisely measured. The final strike ended in a soft downward sweep that stirred not even the dust. His exhale flowed like a tide leaving the shore. Behind him, the dummies all collapsed. Not cut apart, just disabled, immobilized. A pacifist strike, or a warning. He sat once more, placing Yuri across his lap. 3 forms. That was all he had, for now. 3 expressions of a breathing style that defied aggression and celebrated control. He didn't yet know if it could match the killing power of flame or moon or thunder, but it was his. Nature didn't rush, and neither would he. Later that evening, Kagaya Ubuyashiki stood on the porch, his wife gently massaging his failing muscles as the sun set in hues of lavender. Behind him, a crow flapped and landed beside his kneeling guards. It spoke urgently. Report! Muzan is searching. Upper moon mobilized. Lower moon soon confirmed dead. Kagaya smiled gently. So it begins. One of his daughters approached and knelt. Shall we send for Naruto-sama? No, he replied. He's already preparing. His eyes turned toward the hill where Naruto trained in silence. He is not ready yet. But when he is, they will know. Even Muzan will know. The late afternoon sun painted the butterfly mansion in warm golden light, casting long shadows that danced across the walls and floor. Naruto Uzumaki stepped through the open sliding doors, his black and green Hashira cloak gently swaying with his steps. His breathing was steady, focused. He had just completed the foundational forms of his newly forged nature breathing style, a sage-based technique unlike anything that Demon Slayer Core had ever seen. But the tranquility that had settled over him began to crack the moment he heard muffled voices coming from one of the open training rooms further down the hall. Lower moons aren't even a threat, Sanemi's gruff voice barked. Killing one doesn't make you Hashira material. And with his bare hands, that just means he's gotten lucky. Obanai chimed in, his tone sharp and skeptical. He's unstable. The boy walks like he's carrying a secret. He doesn't trust us with. There's no telling when he'll break. And then a softer but no less cutting came. Mitsuri's voice. I don't want him to get hurt. He's already gone through so much. I don't think he's ready. Naruto stopped in his tracks. He narrowed his eyes. He took a slow breath through his nose, exhaled, and turned around without saying a word. The hallway was empty except for the drifting scent of lavender and pine, the telltale sign of Shinobu's nearby herb garden. He stepped out onto the porch, hopped down the gravel path, and made his way across the mansion's training fields. The training yard was expansive, surrounded by tall wooden walls and scattered weapon racks. In the center stood Sanemi, Obanai, and Mitsuri, speaking casually near the sparring circle. Naruto approached them silently, with measured eyes. He removed his Hashira cloak, folded it reverent with care, and placed it beside the rack of wooden swords. His back remained turned to the others as he reached and touched the hilt of one of the practice weapons. His voice was low and cold, cutting through the quiet like a drawn blade. You three talk about me like I'm a child, like I haven't bled, killed, or forcefully sacrificed. You speak of my strength as if it's fiction because you haven't seen it. All three Hashira turned toward him. Sanemi crossed his arms with a scoff. Obanai narrowed his eyes in annoyance, and Mitsuri's expression twisted with regret. Naruto slowly turned around. His eyes held no malice, but they burned with a dangerous calm. The truth is, I'm more powerful than the three of you combined. And the irony? I'm sealed. With a deep breath, Naruto flared his chakra, but in an instant, glowing kanji burst across his skin, forming a complex seal over his chest, shoulders, and arms. It pulsed once, then receded slightly, like a beast behind bars. This seal suppresses my power. It's called the Heavenly Prison Seal, designed to keep me at my weakest. And yet, he smiled grimly. I've adapted. He stepped forward, running his fingers along the wooden swords, then grabbed three in a single motion and tossed them. One landed at Sanemi's feet, one at Obanai's, and the last rolled at a stop near Mitsuri. I'll fight all three of you, Naruto said flatly. Here, now, wooden swords only. Mitsuri shook her head, her voice trembling. I don't want to fight you. This isn't... If you didn't want this, Naruto snapped, you should have kept your mouth shut. She flinched at the words, guilt swimming in her eyes, but she picked up the sword. From the sidelines, Shinobu and Muichiro emerged silently. They leaned against the fence, curiosity in their eyes but no intention of intervening. Naruto dropped into a stance, tight, balanced, and ready. His body was coiled like a predator, a viper prepared to strike. Sanemi grinned, cracking his neck. Finally, some action. Obanai adjusted his grip on the sword, expression unreadable. This'll be quick. Before either of them could blink, Naruto vanished. Crack! Wooden swords slammed against wood. Naruto's sword collided with Sanemi's in midair. The Wind Hashira grunted as he was driven backward by the sheer force of Naruto's strike, his feet digging into the dirt. The ground cracked beneath him. From above, Obanai descended using his serpent breathing, second form Venom Fang Flash. His body twisted in the air, blade darting towards Naruto's exposed shoulder. Naruto sidestepped effortlessly, avoiding the strike, and in the same breath muttered, too slow. He flicked the flat of his blade into Obanai's side, sending the serpent Hashira sprawling. Mitsuri gasped and lunged forward, using love-breathing third form, Cat Love Shower. Her strikes were fast, graceful, and fluid, but Naruto spun out of the way at the last second, allowing her barrage to miss and slam into Sanemi as he tried to recover. Sorry, Mitsuri cried in horror, but Naruto was already behind her. Too predictable, he whispered, then tapped her shoulder with the tip of his sword, making her spin and fall into a defensive crouch. They continued to clash for minutes, but it was never even. Naruto danced around him with eerie precision, never using full force never losing control. He countered each of their forms with instinctual ease, his eyes analyzing their breathing patterns, footwork, and tempo, like a composer stuttering a symphony. Muichiro leaned closer to Shinobu. He's not even using his new breathing style yet. I know, she replied, studying. He's studying them, just like he did with us. Finally, Naruto exhaled and murmured, Enough. He stepped back and raised his sword into a unique stance, one hand forward, blade in a reverse grip. His posture, both guarded and loose. Nature breathing, third form, verdant embrace. He vanished. A moment later, the sound of 9 consecutive strikes echoed across the training yard. The 3 Hashira froze mid-motion. Then, one by one, they collapsed to the ground, muscles locked, nerves shocked, unable to stand. Naruto reappeared, breathing slow and deep, the wooden sword still in perfect, pristine condition. He walked over to the rack and placed the sword back, and retrieved his folded cloak. I told you, he said, slipping it over his shoulders. Just because you haven't seen someone's strength doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Sanemi lay on his back, eyes wide in disbelief. Obanai tried to speak but coughed instead. Mitsuri sat with her legs folded beneath her, stunned. Even sealed. I'm too much for the 3 of you, Naruto said. Do you understand now? He turned to walk away, but paused. You want to know why Shinobu and Muichiro haven't said a word against me? Naruto asked without looking back. Because I passed their test. They know what I am. They've seen firsthand. You can't achieve perfect technique without experience. And you don't survive that experience without power. He disappeared from view, leaving the 3 of them in silence. Shinobu looked down at the trio, a soft sigh escaping her lips. Well, at least now you understand. Muichiro gave a rare smile. That was fun to watch. The wind carried away the tension from the training yard, leaving only echoes of Naruto's message behind. He didn't need their validation. He already knew who he was. And now, so did they. But guys, I'm going to end it off right there. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. But without further ado, I am out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay blessed, y'all.